So plasma membrane is a structure which acts as a covering envelope around the cell components, the components that are present inside the cell. So yesterday we have already discussed how it allows the cell contents to compartmentalize from other cells. I have discussed this with the example of your school. How each section is separated from other section because of presence of walls. Same like that. So let us first observe the structure of this plasma membrane. Plasma membrane structure is proposed by Singer and Nicholson. The name of the structure proposed by them is fluid mosaic model. Fluid mosaic model. What is, according to this fluid mosaic model, the structure of plasma membrane is like this. It is made up of a lipid bilayer. These are all lipid molecules. Lipid molecules has two parts. One is hydrophilic head and next one is hydrophobic tail. What is this hydrophilic head and hydrophobic tail? Phili means to get attracted towards something. Okay, these molecules are attracted towards the cytoplasm. Here cytoplasm is there. In cytoplasm water is there. So because of this reason, the head regions are attracted towards the water molecules. They have more attraction towards water. Hydro means water. Phili means attraction. They are attracted towards water. Hydrophobic means fear for water. That means they move away from water. These tails, they are soluble in lipids. The lipid molecules have some side chains which are soluble in lipids. So they move away from water. Like this, you can see that there are two layers, not single layer. This will be the first layer of lipid molecule. This is the tail. And this is the second layer of lipid molecules. These are hydrophilic heads and next hydrophobic tails. In this way, the lipid bilayer is there. For each lipid molecule, there is a phosphate molecule attached. So that is why this lipid bilayer is called as phospholipid bilayer. What it is called as? This lipid plus phosphate. So it is called as phospholipid. It is arranged in two layers. That's why it is called as phospholipid bilayer. In this phospholipid bilayer, there is a mosaic of proteins. Mosaic of proteins. Mosaic is an artwork which is made with small chips of stones. Same like that in the mosaic work also. You can see there are some proteins which are embedded inside this. Like this. You can see some proteins that are present inside this lipid molecule, lipid bilayer. This, when you see the top layer of this cell membrane, it looks like a mosaic. That's why it is called as fluid mosaic model. These lipids are not like a wall. Actually, they are very flexible, like a fluid. This molecule, protein molecule, sometimes can go inside, sometimes it can come outside. So that is why it is fluid. It gives a mosaic-like appearance because of proteins arranged here and there. That is why this is called as fluid mosaic model. Okay, and sometimes we can see there are side chains of carbohydrates also attached to this phospholipid. Sometimes some carbohydrate side chains are also there, very less amount of carbohydrates. So what are the components of a phospholipid molecule is lipids, proteins, and few carbohydrates. Very few carbohydrate side chains are attached to this phospholipid molecules. Okay. Since it is very less, very few carbohydrates, sometimes it is even neglected also, very negligible amount of. You take the proteins that are present inside this fluid mosaic model are three types. How many types? Three types. What are those three types? First type, this type of protein which is present inside the lipid molecule is called as intrinsic protein. Intrinsic protein. And this type of proteins which are outside the lipid molecule, lipid bilayer, are called as extrinsic protein. Extrinsic protein. I'll write with another color. This is intrinsic protein. This is extrinsic protein. And this protein, which is completely spanning the total lipid bilayer, this is called as transmembrane protein. It is spanning the membrane. It is going across the membrane. That is why it is called as transmembrane proteins. Transmembrane proteins. Okay. So there are three types of proteins: intrinsic proteins, extrinsic proteins, and transmembrane proteins that are present in this. Okay, one important thing I'm saying you, these proteins are not for energy generation or for some repair purpose or something. They act as mediators. They act as mediators. How they act as mediators? They act as receptors. They act as mediators. Okay, before discussing, we discuss the functions of plasma membrane functions. Functions of plasma membrane. I said you first compartmentalization, separating inner contents from outer contents. That's all, right? Second one, it helps in formation of pseudopodia. In case of amoeba or our white blood cells, sometimes you know what is pseudopodia. It's not a new topic. So the finger-like projections that form in cell membrane are called as pseudopodia. This helps to engulf the particles and help in nutrition. In our WBC, they help us to engulf the pathogens, disease-causing microorganisms. Sometimes they form cilia also, flagella also. In this way, they help in movement. They help in exchange of substances. Suppose carbon dioxide should go outside, oxygen should go inside. Carbohydrates that are produced, that are absorbed from food should enter into the cell. Digested food particles that are the energy that is released from this carbohydrate should come outside. So ATP molecules. See, all these molecules are exchanged. At which location? At cell membrane only. Right. One more function. I'll say you one more function. They also help in one more exchange of substances. I said already pseudopodia, compartmentalization. One more function is there. Yeah. The cell membranes usually have small side chains. These side chains act as what is recognition centers. Recognition centers. Recognition centers means, see for example, any molecule like enzyme should enter into the cell. This will help to recognize. But because of this, it will bind here, then it will enter into the cell. Okay. Next, recognition center also helps enzymes, antibodies, hormones. There are certain chemicals called hormones produced in our body. These all can recognize the cell because of the receptor molecules that are present. Okay, this recognition helps the functioning that is taking place inside. Right, that is the functions of plasma membrane. It also helps in endocytosis and exocytosis. One more function, endocytosis, exocytosis. This endocytosis can be a engulfing of water molecule, or it can be engulfing of food molecule. Some molecules that enter inside are engulfed by this plasma membrane and it will go inside. That process is called endocytosis. Exocytosis, a molecule that is required to come outside. Also, it escapes through the cell membrane by forming a small pouch-like structures. That is called as exocytosis. Okay, these are all the different functions of plasma membrane. Let us see how the exchange of material occurs. For the exchange of materials to occur at cytoplasm, there are various methods we'll discuss. Exchange of materials across the plasma membrane occurs either by passive transport, second one active transport, or by simply osmosis. Okay, passive transport. Passive transport does not require energy. Molecules easily pass through the cell membrane. For example, if you take oxygen molecules, easily pass through the cell membrane inside. Carbon dioxide easily passes through the cell membrane outside. This process does not require energy. Okay, this is called as diffusion. Diffusion. Certain substances like facilitated transport, I'll say facilitated transport. Facilitated transport means some of the water molecules, they do not directly pass through by diffusion, but they require certain protein molecules. These protein molecules which are present inside the phospholipid bilayer carry these water molecules. This type of movement is facilitated by this protein. Okay. You take, for example, fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, K. Here fat layers are there. So they'll pass through these lipid molecules. Okay. So if it is taking the help of some molecules for passing, then it is a facilitated transport. Certain proteins also pass through with the help of protein molecules. This type of transport is called as facilitated transport, where a molecule helps other molecule to pass through the cell membrane. Active transport requires ATP molecule. ATP molecule should be present. Then only it can pass through it. See, for example, sodium potassium pump. In the cell membrane, there is a ATPase molecule. ATPase converts ADP into ATP. During this time, sodium molecules, sodium Na plus, Na2 plus or Na plus, okay, something. Na sodium ion, Na plus. 3 molecules of sodium are exchanged with 2 molecules of potassium. When this exchange occurs, ADP is converted into ATP. Okay, this process is called as sodium potassium pump. For this, ATP molecule is required. Okay, so active transport involves the use of ATP molecule for transport across the membrane. This type of transport is called as active transport. What is osmosis? Osmosis occurs when there is concentration difference. Okay, water transport from low solute concentration region to high solute concentration region. Inside the cell, always the solute concentration is more. Outside the cell, always the solute concentration is less. So water molecules tends to move inside. This process is called as osmosis. Okay. Presently, you understand water molecules transport from less concentration region to more concentration region. That's all. In our chapter 4, we have a complete discussion of osmosis. There, you will be able to make that concept clear. Here, you understand water molecules move from low concentration region to high concentration region, and this process is called as osmosis. Right. Next, cytoplasm. The liquid that is present inside the cell is called as cytoplasm. In this near to nucleus, the cytoplasm which is present near to nucleus, here there are so many granules like ribosomes. So this part of cytoplasm is called as endoplasm. It is dense, it has granules. Compared to the outermost region, which is dilute and no granules, granules are absent. So this part of cytoplasm is called as ectoplasm. Ectoplasm. Okay. So cytoplasm, initially it was called as protoplasm because it was believed to be the reason for life. But it is now also called as cyto means cell, plasm means liquids. Okay, both the terms are correct. You can use the word cytoplasm, you can use the word protoplasm. Okay, what is the function of this cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is the location where all the organelles of cell are present. Organelles are present in this cytoplasm. Since organelles are present, all metabolic activities, metabolic activities. Take for example, ribosomes are there. Proteins are produced. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum is lipids are produced. Not only that, it helps in exchange of substances from one organelle to another organelle. Exchange of substances between organelles, between organelles. between nucleus and cytoplasm, between nucleus and the cell membrane, like this transport inside the cell occurs because of this cytoplasm. Sorry, this is not plasma. Okay. So what else? If anything has to be exported out, also it should be transported through this cell membrane only. So for secretion purpose, secretion of substances, like sometimes proteins need to be secreted out. For that purpose also the cytoplasm is a route way for the passage of the material. Okay, it stores the food, it stores energy, it is also a storage of food, energy, liquids, minerals. All these also occurs inside the cytoplasm. So these are the functions of cytoplasm. Next, we'll discuss about cell wall. Today's topic ends with cell wall. Cell wall was also discovered by Robert Hooke in the year 1665. Did he do a separate experiment to do this discovery? No. When he was doing the experiment with the cork, at that time only he saw the compartments and he named it as cell. Then the outermost layer, that is nothing but cell wall. Okay. This cell wall is composed of one middle lamellae, one primary cell wall, and one secondary cell wall. This middle lamellae is formed by Golgi complex. Golgi complex forms this middle lamellae during the cell division process itself. When the cell is dividing itself, what happens? This middle lamella is formed. On the during the cell division process, one cell, second cell, between middle lamella is formed. Okay, this is present between one cell and another cell, and primary cell wall starts depositing over that middle lamella. Yeah. Primary cell wall start depositing over this middle lamellae on either side. Okay. After that, the secondary cell wall starts depositing on either side. I'll show you. This is the middle lamellae that is formed. It is a cementing substance also. It helps in attaching two different cells. This is the first cell. This is the second cell. So primary cell wall starts depositing like this around the middle lamellae. After that, secondary cell wall deposits. So what is primary cell wall composed of? Primary cell wall is usually composed of cellulose, hemicellulose, whereas secondary cell wall is composed of cellulose. Certain cells have pectin also, not all the cells, but some cells have pectin also. In case of secondary cell wall, it is made up of cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, another substance called lignin, another substance called suberin. All these are carbohydrates that make up the cell. Okay. So sometimes in some places the secondary cell wall does not deposit. This region where the secondary cell wall is not deposit, this region is called as pits. Okay, this is primary cell wall that is formed around, this is the middle lamellae. Around the middle lamellae first primary cell wall is formed, and upon that towards the inner side of the cell secondary cell wall will be formed. Okay, sometimes the secondary cell wall is not forming any deposits. These areas where secondary cell wall is not formed is called as pits. Moreover, one more thing I have to say. Yeah, cell wall has pores. What is the nature of the cell wall? It is flexible, it is porous, and also tough. Three characters are present inside the cell wall. Okay, cell wall is something which is flexible, it is also flexible, it is also porous, it is also tough. Okay, this cell wall is present in organisms like plants, unicellular prokaryotes like bacteria, eubacteria, archaebacteria, cyanobacteria, all these have cell wall, and also fungus. Plants, bacteria and fungus have cell wall. I'll say you the reason why these plants have cell wall, bacteria has cell wall. First, why plants have cell wall? Plants have cell wall that help them to stand straight, stand erect. That means they give mechanical strength. They don't have bones like us. They don't have bones like our body, but they need to stand straight. For that, two things are helping. One is very tough cell, which is filled with water. Plants continuously absorb water and makes themselves puffy. Okay, because of this puffiness, what happens? This, you see, if you make balloons fully blown and arrange them in the form of a decoration, you can make them stand straight also. Okay, these days balloon decorations are done by winding the balloons round and making a large pillars like that. How is it possible? Because balloons are fully blown. Same like that, plant cells are fully filled with water. That is the reason that is called as turgid cells. Turgid cell and plant cell wall together help this plant. These two components together help the plant to stand straight. They provide mechanical support to the plant. Okay, so that is one thing. Next, plant cells continuously take water. This is the first reason. Second reason, plant cells take water continuously. Okay, there is a chance that if cell wall is not there, after some time water is added, and at one stage they may burst. Plant cells are prevented from bursting. Prevented from bursting. Because of presence of this cell wall. Okay, that is the reason why it is present in plants. Why it is present in bacteria? Bacteria cells are all, they do not have nucleus. Since they do not have nucleus, there should be some strength. Easily they may be attacked. Nucleus is a very important organelle that is important for protein production. If protein production is not there, that cells will be weak. So in order to prevent being attacked or killed or damaged, they have a cell wall for protection. Okay, cell wall for protection. Why fungi have cell wall is the same reason why plants have cell wall. Fungus also stands straight. There is no skeleton inside. They need to stand erect. They need to prevent themselves from bursting. All these reasons are there why fungus also have cell wall. Okay, so the meanwhile, we have also discussed the functions of cell wall. It helps the plant to stand straight. It helps the plants from bursting. It also is porous. Since it is porous, I said you already, It helps in exchange of material also. Exchange of material also is done by this cell wall. Right? So that is about cell wall, children. We have completed cell wall, cytoplasm and plasma membrane today.